First Cole Palmer Spam official video. None of the shorts nonsense anymore. First video is going to be about Chelsea and how the project, at least to me, I think 90% of fans, Chelsea fans, everything, has not been a success. I'm going to go into the 2 full seasons the board had. I think the first one's a little unfair as Todd Boehly was his director of football. He's never been in that position. The transfers were different, the coaches were different, but we're going to go in depth. 2-3 parts of this video. I mean, the audio, the quality, I'm just in my parents' room right now. You can see a silhouette of me back there. It's not the best, but please like, please comment, please subscribe. Everything helps if you really like this video. And I mean, eventually we can get out the slums of my parents' room, make some better videos. A little background about me is I support Chelsea. I've been watching soccer, I'm American since I could remember. I could show a picture right now up on the screen of me supporting Chelsea during, I think it was Conte's 90-point season when I started watching soccer. So I had high standards of Chelsea, which is even a little bit more depressing when now we lose 8-2 to PSG across 2 legs, we lose 3-0 to Everton. And I mean, who else better but me? I had the highs, now we're on the lows. And I mean, I could go in depth all day about Chelsea's problems, but today I'll just do a short video about it. Or maybe longer, I'm not sure yet. Kind of like these video essays, but we'll see. And we'll get to the next part now. I think it's important to say that Chelsea has for sure lost their aura. I remember when I was a freshman, I'm a senior right now, I'd be made fun of for wearing the Chelsea kit because when we finished 12th. By guys I didn't know, by teachers I didn't talk to, I'd be made fun of. That would have never happened under Roman. And that's why I feel the need to make this video, If you're an Arsenal fan, you're like, Chelsea are 5th, why are they complaining? That's our standards. But no, Chelsea are held to a higher standard. One of the biggest clubs since the 2000s. And I mean, we've fallen off a little bit, First full season under Poch is where I think you fully see the owner's vision. Because at this point, at the beginning, Todd Boehly had taken over 2022, or mid-season Tuchel. And like I said in the earlier stage, I don't want to count that Potter 12th season crap. I'm just going to go Poch's full season. That's where you see the board's vision and beyond. And I got my trusty notebook for anything I forget. I have here transfers-wise, because I mean, this is one of the biggest talking points of Chelsea's downfall. Chelsea's, we're not doing as good. First window, we spent 450 million. 200 million out. So, I mean, pretty big window, almost 200 million spent, even though these days, these Prem clubs do spend 200 million, but there's a crap ton of transfers. We see Mount, Havertz, Kovacic, Mendy all leave. That Champions League team is no more. We see, even guys like Koulibaly, the old guard is out, so that's part of the board's vision. They want these young players. We signed 0 players over 25. And we signed a coach, Poch, that's good of kids. That's, people say he's like a puppet that he'll listen to the board. We'll talk about that later, but you can see the board's vision here. Now, this first season, it started very bad. I can't lie, it was always like we could win, and then we would finish top 6 or we'd go higher, but we could never capitalize. We were inconsistent. Poch, unfortunately, couldn't organize a defense. And this was until, I think it was about the Villa game. So like the 32nd match week, randomly just lock in. We're losing 2-0 to Villa. And Poch puts Cucurella in the midfield. And for some reason, this is just where we saw the rebirth of Chelsea. So we go 5 wins. We beat West Ham 5-0. We beat Spurs 2-0. And I mean, we were like 6 points off Champions League at this point. I can maybe show on the screen. It was a better season. But I mean, we saw the cracks of the board. We saw that Poch made Gallagher captain because they wanted to sell Gallagher because if you don't have finances, boyhood players that came through the academy, they are pure profit on the sheet book. So when we sell Gallagher 40, 60 million, whatever, that is 60 million into the account. And, but if you buy a 20 million player, sell him for 60, only 40 million profit instead of, just straight 60. So that's why they really want to sell him. But I mean, Poch plays this intense soccer. Gallagher was the perfect guy. That's why he literally captained him, and we had a tifo with him. Which, I mean, now he's at Spurs, so it was a little cringe, I can't lie. But you can see that the board already had weird moments. And it really showed its full force at the end of the season where Poch was 9th for a while, 8th, you know, bouncing around. Really, Cole Palmer was just carrying us. There was Palmer, Gusto, and Gallagher. I think we're good. A lot of players weren't, though, who came in for big money. You know, Caicedo, Enzo. Cole was academy guy, but he wasn't doing too well. Jackson was, you know, Jacksoning it up. But I think a fan would semi-understood if we fired Poch mid-season. You know, we weren't, and it seemed like we're going to Europe. That's where the confusing part comes in. Poch wins 5 of the last 6 undefeated. I think I have here a stat. Yeah, Chelsea lose 1 game in 15 with 8 wins. We were pretty good after that February spell. He got his crap together. Caicedo, Cucurella, Enzo, not too much, but like the big guys, they were playing better. The defense was even a little sharper. So what to get rewarded with? Poch gets, well, they always say mutual termination these days, but you know, he left. It doesn't matter. He did not want to stay at Chelsea after he got his crap together, and that is just one of the cracks of the board. You know, they want you to listen to them, not for good results. And good results is almost like a side priority. First priority is listen to us, sign these players, don't complain, be a puppet. That's why I don't agree with the Poch is a puppet stuff, because, you know, I'm a U.S. fan, I hear that too. I don't believe it. Poch got fired from Chelsea because he didn't listen. I have here, he got his crap together, he gets rewarded, gets fired. There was that Gallagher stuff, like I said. And yeah, apparently it was because of transfers. You know, he didn't have too much of a say in transfers, policy. That's understandable. Why were Poch is this intense coach, and we're for some reason playing with guys like Enzo? He's not a tense player. I mean, yeah, we see the first sign of the board showing its true colors. We finished 6th, we had Conference League. The signs are a little up, but I mean, Chelsea fans, you know, we're still getting made fun of. We're still being slandered and everything. And I mean, on to the next season. This is part 2 of 3. This is where a little-known coach from Leicester City gets promoted with Leicester, Maresca, and leaves his prem team to come to Chelsea. If I'm going to be completely honest, because I assume you know about soccer, you know what happens, I did not trust Maresca. I thought, you know, Poch brought us to 6th, and he actually had experience. He was at big boy clubs. Maresca had a whole 2 years of experience, by the way. I think one of them was at Chelsea. So now that I think about it, like 1 year of experience just at Leicester and like a little stint at Parma, apparently. I wasn't sure about him. The vibes weren't up to me. But I mean, we saw at the we saw at the transfer window, it was more calm. I have it right here. We only had a 40 million loss, which is really not much for a big club. That's like I don't know, almost any profit. That's really not bad. A more calm window ensued. 280 million spent, 240 million sold. Which, I mean, isn't that crazy? And we only supported Maresca with Neto, Tosin. Tosin was a free signing. Neto was 60 million, and I mean, he's not gonna light the world on fire. There's also a Sancho loan, but same old, same old. And it's like, we could tell that it wasn't Maresca signings because come January, Renato Vega, who I actually like, but he doesn't seem like a loyal guy, you know? He's always going on loan and celebrating against his clubs. 22, already had multiple transfers, but Maresca wanted him out. Vega wanted to leave. Maresca didn't really care. So that's one signing. And João Felix was spent for like 50, 60 million, also wanted out. These were clearly not Maresca signings. He clearly did not have a say, even though the board told us that Maresca would have more of a say. So lying, 2 players want out, who Vega, you know, probably spent a couple million on him from Basel, but Felix, 60 million. 60 million signing? And we had no backup 10 for Palmer now, which when he had more of a bad stint after about, you know, February, March, we didn't have anyone to replace him with. What, Dewsbury Hall? He's not that good. And he left the season after. It doesn't seem like Maresca was supported at all. So that actually surprises me now. Because, I mean, I'll get to the facts now that Chelsea start very good. But look at these. Look at this. 11 wins in the first 16 PL games. And the 2 losses were to Liverpool and City, the 2 best teams in the league. We started like a house on fire, just insane. I mean, unfortunately, the form got a bit patchy. We had home loss to Legia Warsaw in the Conference League, Fulham and Ipswich, tied Ipswich again, 3-0 loss to Brighton. The only time Maresca lost over 2-0 was to Brighton of all teams. We got knocked out by them the FA Cup, so it was in 2 weeks' time, by the way. Lost in the FA Cup 2-1. 2-1 to Villa. And I'm not going to lie, it creeped some doubt on him. I thought maybe it was just a new manager bounce. We were seeing a bit of luck. You know, Palmer's running out. I'm thinking, like, why is this guy not playing around our best player? But then this is when the last part of the season, Maresca clutches up again. Maresca shows he's a big game coach by winning the Conference League 4-1. That Betis team was not bad. I know it's Conference League, but they were not bad. He beat Spurs, Liverpool, and Forest on the final day to secure Champions League. I mean, big boy stuff, beating Liverpool 3-1, Spurs 1-0, beating Forest 1-0, who had a very good defense. I'm pretty sure they won, they would have made Champions League, but we dropped them out. We did it on our terms. We didn't need any help. Maresca just did it himself. And I mean, this is the first time under Bluco we make Champions League. This is the first time where I think I keep saying vibes aura, but like genuinely it does make a difference that I felt like there was something to us, Conference League, top 4. He did what he needed to do. He did it with a pretty bang average squad. I mean, he made Caicedo look very good. He made Enzo look a bit better. Cucurella, Caicedo, they were amazing this season. Every time Caicedo went down, I was like, that's our season over if he's injured. We had a better defense, their best defense in the league, I'm pretty sure. It's more boring soccer, but who really cares? I mean, Arsenal are about to win the league, and they have the most corner goals. Like, no one really cares as long as you win, if it's boring. And I mean, I'm going to conclude that as the 24-25 season. I know technically the Club World Cup is in that season, but I don't believe that because, I mean, the transfers and everything. So I think I'm going to cut. I'm going to talk about the season we're in now and where it leaves us today. Now this leads us to the Club World Cup, to the present day, where I feel the need to make this video. So I assume you know where this is going. Club World Cup, we went into it. Although I said, like, Maresca did his job, I don't think anyone thought we were going to go past the quarters, the semis, and really push on. We still hadn't seen Maresca, like, really take a big game, by the balls, really, like, take it. That Liverpool win was kind of like they already won the league. We were kind of holding on by then, if we're going to be honest. So, I mean, I didn't have too high hopes, but still trusted the guy. And transfer-wise, I mean, we signed João Pedro, who we know to be a baller now. But again, 0 players over the age of 25. So, I mean, it was we saw the board signs again. That Club World Cup, I'm sure you guys know how it ends. I genuinely can't believe that happened. We lose our second game to Flamengo. To be fair, Nicholas Jackson, Jackson did up again, gets a red card. But we only won against LAFC and Tunis, like a Tunisian team. Then we beat a couple Brazilian teams, and we get to the final. I mean, semi-final, but João Pedro scored 2 bangers. What a player that guy is. I might get edited him or something someday. But anyways, the final. We reached the PSG, where I was on a soccer trip with my team. Dude, it was getting bad. They were talking about how PSG was just going to destroy Chelsea, so it wasn't going to be close. And I couldn't argue it, really. I couldn't agree with them. PSG, even though they lost to Botafogo 1-0, they still smashed both Atletico Madrid's 4-0. They beat Seattle 2-0 as well, so they really weren't conceding. They beat Bayern 2-0. They got a man down and still scored another. Bayern couldn't come back even a man down. So they conceded like 1 goal up to that point. That was one. Like, they were insane. And they won the Champions League final 5-0. And we know to this day onwards, they are still insane. I mean, they beat us 8-2 these days. I did not expect what happened to happen. We see Maresca, who has, at this point, like a year and a half or 2 years of experience, against Enrique, who is 12 for 12 for finals as a coach. I know he coached Barca, so it's not that hard, but that's still an insane record. He won 2 trebles. This guy, probably the best modern coach, like the best coach who's coaching right now. Chelsea go out there. You expect a 3-4 goal capitulation by Chelsea. We're going to get dominated, but no. Maresca somehow shows his big game balls, and we beat them 3-0. And this wasn't a lucky deflection goal, corner, sit back and counter win. This was big game players with a big game coach having a good mentality. This is a good defensive structure that we're not gonna fool ourselves and PSG are pressing hard. We're not gonna play out the back with Sanchez and all that. We're gonna have our 4 center backs. We're gonna have 4 midfielders that we can't get beat by the press. This was good tactically. And Cucurella has said these days, this is for later in the video, but Maresca was, even before the Club World Cup, that he was inspiring loyalty, desire to win, that they would die for him, They really loved the guy, and you could clearly see it. 3-0 in the first half. And this really, I thought it was going to be sunshine and rainbows after this, that the Chelsea project had finally released itself, that these players were getting to a good age, that we signed a good striker, João Pedro. Sanchez looked really good. I thought this season was going to be amazing, and I mean, to be fair, it started insanely well. If I just look right here, we should prepare for this a little more. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember that start of the season where Maresca had to shut down the title charges again. What was it? Chelsea were Brighton. Oh, we also signed Esteval. I mean, what a player, even these days. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot to write it down, but 12 games in, Chelsea have 7 wins. We were actually second, because after that tie with Arsenal, we tied a man down with Arsenal. I mean, what a result. We beat Barca 3-0. We won 5 games or more. Or no, we won 5 games by 3 goals or more. Ajax 5-1, Wolves 3-0. We could show we could score. We could show we could defend. We were really well-rounded. And this is where, if you're not a Chelsea fan, maybe you'll understand. This is where the Chelsea curse hit, where every December, I think if we have a good December, we are winning the league. That is the rule. For whatever the reason may be, Chelsea cannot go through December in these winter months. As we saw in Maresca, Poch, Maresca again now. We go 1 for 7 in wins. We had a couple losses, couple ties. 1 win. So it was 3 losses, 2 ties. Although it's not good. It's not good. I'm not going to defend the guy. It was good. And we looked so dry in the attack. I don't think anyone wanted him out. I think it would have been all right. But what wasn't all right was that Maresca was coming out. He was saying that it was the worst 48 hours he had seen at the club. He said that before we beat Everton 2-0. He was demanding that we get a center back. He was just clashing with the board, and I've never seen it happen where you clash with the board and you stay with your job. They're like, oh, you know what, this guy's right. Everyone knew it was coming, but it's still sad to this day that Maresca got fired, leave, mutual termination, whatever BS they say. 1 in 7 wins, that's not good, but we actually had that last season. He still came back. This season, I know that the board doesn't take into account, but the Prem is not good. The Champions League, we unfortunately got the best team. We got PSG again. Maresca would have now lost 8-2 to PSG. I don't know if we would have won. We would have, like I said, we only lost 1 game by 2 goals or more. It was the Brighton of all teams, which is weird. But the guy knew how to set up a team. He knew where our weak spots were. Sanchez, good shot stopper, not a good ball player. He knew that our team wasn't too physical or intense. So Caicedo would do most of the dirty work, would get outran by other teams, but play good possession soccer, football, whatever you say. So this was one of the saddest moments under Bluco. I think the worst decision they've made so far, besides signing Garnacho. And this leads us to where we signed Rosigne. I still thought we had a chance to go in the season. Maybe they saw something, Maresca was doing something that we didn't know, but I mean, Rosigne started good. This is not me bashing the guy. He started good. I thought he was, likable, adaptable as a coach. We got top 8 in Champions League. He won the first, I don't know stats, but it was like, we only lost to Arsenal, really, for some reason. And then it's all come crashing down, sadly. 8-2 to PSG, showing that he can now organize a defense. 3-0 to Everton. The players don't look like they give a crap anymore. Caicedo's barely running against Everton, which is a rant for another day. The video's already getting a little long. But I mean, I can't bash for seniors. Come into a team mid-season that loved this old guy, that loved their old ex basically. I'm not gonna go into him. The board just messed up crucially, and next cut I will go into why. Now this leads us to why I made the question, why I made the video, the theme of the video. Why has this Chelsea project not worked? Why do I not like the owners? Why no one does, and the directors and everything? And there's a multitude of reasons. I'm going to go into the most important ones. Firstly, we have signed 0 players over 25. Your spine of the team, your keeper, your DM, your CBs, your striker, down the middle, your spine, has to be experienced. João Pedro, I love him. He's only consistent though, because and that's him after playing years and years of soccer, and he's still one of our best signings. Caicedo, first season of football, not too good, but then he gets the experience. He gets good players around him. He plays better. Sanchez, as much as sometimes I'll be a little delusional about him, he still makes so much mistakes. But he's 28 as a keeper? He's not. We should have signed Mignon when we had the chance. But, Chelsea, they'll make a lot of fake links and like, oh, we're going to give this coach more authority. It's all lies. They do what they want to do. Blueco, the owner group that owns Chelsea, where Egbali is like 60% owner, so he's majority owner. So I don't understand why people make fun of Bowley still, just because he's American, but, for another day. Egbali, we genuinely use AI for scouting. There are clips out there that I can probably show you. Egbali, we are one of the only teams in Europe, I think Burnley did at one point, there's some MLS teams, we're the only top club to use AI. Egbali, I saw an interview where he's talking about, I don't understand these scouts. They say that they use their eyes to scout players. Yeah, that's how you do it. You don't use AI. AI doesn't. There's there's variables. There's like how much has this guy played. Soccer isn't played on the spreadsheet, as they say. That is one of the main reasons. Okay, we do not sign these world-class players as they are. Our biggest signings were Caicedo and Enzo, who had a couple seasons worth of experience. It's like you get signed in as a center back, let's say. Who do you have to learn off? Hobo's like 20. You got Disasi, Buttershield are not good, so don't listen to them. Like, you really don't have much to learn off. That brings me to the next point, that you don't necessarily need an experienced world-class coach. You need experienced world-class players. Maresca was doing a good job, and he had 2 years experience. Arteta and company. Arteta came in, they gave him the authority to make signings. At first he played that nice possession, Gabi Jesus, Zinchenko football. It was really nice, but then they started choking, and now they allowed him to buy more defensive players. They're giving this guy full authority. You can tell when Arsenal makes a signing, Arteta, he signed that off. He actually likes that guy. And they're about to win a league. As much as sad as it hurts to say, they're about to win a league and are actually, unless they choke again, they're actually quarterfinals of Champions League. They're a big club team, and Chelsea aren't. The roles are reversed. Company, relegated at Bayern. Then he goes into Bayern. He gets first season, he does all right. Second season, we can see it's better. And you know why? You sign players like Diaz, Olise, Ta, world-class players, experienced players, less so Olise, but you get my point. Palhinha even, he can sign who he wants. He can sign experienced players. So Bayern are doing good, even though he himself is not an experienced coach. He's only had 2-3 years experience, just like Maresca. And I bet Maresca is going to go to City or maybe an Italian team. He's going to do amazing. If he goes to City, that could be the next Pep reign. That could be the next, domination for a while. And my second point is, you fired Maresca and Poch when they were actually doing good. When Maresca had the fans on his side, won the Club World Cup. He was a big game coach. You know, little games, I can't lie, sometimes would screw up. I mean, the team would lose to Leeds, tied to Bournemouth twice. But there was no reason to fire him, if we were honest. And you can see why. Or fire him for freaking Rosenior, a guy who has like just as much experience. And then you fire Poch when he's doing good. This divides the fan base, the players. I did my notes before, but now quotes have come out from Fabrizio Romano of Cucurella and Enzo. Cucurella's talking about how much they loved Enzo, how he'd inspire them to fight. They were loyal to him. They'd die for him. And I mean, Enzo, he's doing a bit more crybaby way, if I'm going to be honest. Rant for another day, of course, though. But he wants to leave. The project is reliant on these players wanting to stay for these long contracts, but they're not obliged. They can leave whenever they want. And now we're seeing that. I bet if Cole Palmer was still doing insane, he'd probably want to leave too. But I mean, that United stuff's just clickbait. But you got my point that these players don't have to stay. They have ambition, they have ego, they're driven by success. And Maresca had success. He won his 2 trophies in his first season. And all the Chelsea legends, they really liked the guy. He knew what he was doing. So the board just divides the fan base, the players, sign all these young players who, they're probably good, but they're flopping, some of them, because they don't have guidance. If you don't have experienced players, you need an experienced coach, and vice versa, but they don't have either. So it just, I don't know. I really do not like what the board is doing. Yeah, I mean, voice crack, they've talked about in their videos, because I'll sometimes watch these, they'll talk to these other, rich billionaires, and Bali has talked about, NBA, NFL talent. There's this 4-minute video that I can show in the description or, chat below. It's 4 minutes. He talks about talent, monetization, NBA, NFL. He doesn't say a word about football, about soccer. He doesn't talk anything about it. It's like these guys are just in it. It doesn't seem like they want to win so bad. Like Roman was writing off insane amounts of debt. He really wants to win. I mean, we broke the rules twice. The guy didn't care. He really loved the club, politics aside and everything. It just doesn't seem like they do. They're trying to be this hippie, so this hippie club. They sign young players. They use AI. We've had 2 AI sponsors, by the way, this season, and I think it was Infinite Athlete was also an AI sponsor. I forgot, but we had 2 AI sponsors. They want to do a multi-club ownership, just like City do, Strasbourg. But now we're just seeing just nepotism. Rosenior gets the job because of Strasbourg. They're all of the same agency, I've seen. Gary O'Neill is the current Strasbourg coach. Rosenior, they're of the same agency. So there's nepotism going on. And it's not even good nepotism. We're not signing good coaches or players. And they call Brighton one of the best run teams in the league. Bro, why are we comparing ourselves to Brighton? We literally make Brighton signings if you really think about it. We signed Sanchez, Pedro, Cucurella, Caicedo. They're all good, by the way. Besides me, Sanchez. But we are a big team. We are not Brighton. Compare yourselves to City, Arsenal, Bayern, Barca, Madrid. Compare yourselves to those guys, not freaking Brighton. And I really think that just sums it up. That we are managed, coached, directed as if we were Brighton, not Chelsea. And I think that is the main reason why this football club is not where it used to be.